You know, sometimes people ask me, do you have any advice for young artists? And I used to say, if you're able to quit, you should just quit. But that sounds very negative. So instead of that, I have a Charles Bukowski poem here. It's called Roll the Dice. Do it, do it, do it, do it. All the way, all the way. You will ride life straight to perfect laughter. It's the only good fight there is. My name is Mark Dean Veca. I'm an artist. I always wanted to be an artist since I remember as a little kid in second grade working on class projects and some of the other kids coming around and saying, wow, you're a good artist. And so I remember that feeling really good, which really encouraged me to do more of it because I became like that kid, So it gave me an identity and something that would impress the other kids, So I kept doing it. My very first large-scale mural was in 1983, 84 at Otis, where I was studying with an artist named Kent Twitchell.
I'm Kent Twitchell. I've been painting murals in Los Angeles since about 1970, 71. He was subtle. I mean, he wasn't always pushing himself ahead, and he wasn't a bragger. He was very sort of modest. I just noticed him by his work. His work just stood out. I thought, whoa, this guy is fun.
He came into class one day and says, well, would anybody like to learn how to paint a mural? So 4 of us, that we didn't really know each other, we all volunteered. And he got us a wall on the Hollywood freeway, and he showed us his whole technique on how to take a photographic image and enlarge it, and how to break down all the colors and recreate that in paint, on the wall. So there was a bunch of different things, different directions that I was thinking about going into. And then it so happens I had a friend, my friend Jim Morphesis was living in New York.
He was good. He was good, and I hired Mark as my studio assistant. And for a few years, Mark, in the good old days when things were rolling well, he'd show up in the morning. I'd pay him to go to breakfast with me, just to keep me company, and then we'd eventually find ourselves working.
So I sublet my studio in LA and moved to New York. In the early 90s, my work definitely changed. I ended up with this little studio in Tribeca, and I just started doing drawings. And that sort of evolved into this amalgamation of images from the Popeye cartoons. And somehow Popeye's forearm and his hat came together to create this character. And so I just sort of went wild with that. I became very obsessive about just drawing that over and over again in just any way that I could. I had submitted some drawings to the Drawing Center, and they saw this one drawing that was that Popeye figure that I mentioned. A whole army of these arms, right, sort of running in a big crowd, and then the other image that I was using was Bluto's teeth and beard, sort of disembodied teeth and beard that made it sort of another character. And they were all, a swarm of these were chasing this crowd of Popeyes. And it was actually something that came out of Dante's Inferno. It was Canto 3 of Dante's Inferno, where this certain circle of hell, all of these giant flying insects are chasing all these souls through hell. They said, well, have you ever done any kind of big wall drawing, and would you like to do one? And I said, well, yeah, actually I did do one. I've done that before. It was the one I did on the freeway here in LA in 1983. In 2001 is when I started doing the toile-related drawings. The type of pattern is known as toile de jouy, and it's an 18th century French textile design. I first discovered this pattern on my mother-in-law's bathroom wall. You can't really find the beginning or the end, and it's so organic. You'd always find something new in it. You could keep looking at it and always discover things you didn't see before.
When I see really good, interesting, abstract stuff, I'm always really excited about it. And with Mark, what I first saw were kind of his wallpaper pattern paintings, where they were like vertical line work, quite abstracted, but looking like a very bizarre, psychedelic, biomorphic version of a Victorian wallpaper print. And that's what I liked about it. And I do like the idea of him dropping these die-cut paintings into some of the organic forms in the wall, just because when you can actually pull a piece off that's, designed as an element in the wall and have it as a standalone piece of art, I'm a fan of that. I think that's innovative, and I really like it.
To do this thing, which is also like such an absurd thing to do, you know, because it's like putting so much work into this thing that's going to last for 2 months, and then it's gone. You know? I feel like the whole vision was realized. Since I haven't really done anything like this in LA on this scale, I really wanted to pull out all the stops.
His effort to kind of meme his work out, to spread it like a mold over every inch of conceivable space is kind of developing further. He starts working on the floor here. He's starting to think of other aspects in the room, and I can only imagine how far he'll go if he gets his druthers.
It's depressing in a way, but you know, time to move on, I suppose. You know, I think it had a good run. People seem to really enjoy it, and I am really proud of it. I mean, with this one particularly, I'm starting to feel like if I was to be doing something that was going to stay, you know, for a long time or forever, it wouldn't be much different than this.